Hi guys, welcome to the Rule of Two, where the Star Wars news saga continues. I'm Terrence.
I'm Manny.
And we actually got a lot of information for you guys. Normally, we don't have so much information on our Rule of Two shows, but this time we are overwhelmed since Star Wars Celebration just took place last weekend. And I guess we're going to get into it with one of the biggest things that we were all expecting from Star Wars Celebration not when it was first announced, but more before Star Wars Celebration was announced, was the newest trailer for Rogue One to come out.
Right.
Now, we had originally got a kind of a heads up of a listing in TV Guide or what's the TV Guide?
Well, it was going to be a 4-minute trailer on the ABC,
right?
Where they were actually showing parts of behind the scenes footage from Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it that you can actually see on the special features of the Blu-ray, but they did actually air it, and they aired the 4-minute trailer, or the trailer for Rogue One, the newest one.
Not really a trailer, more of a reel of some of the clips from Rogue One, not really set up as a trailer format where we get to know more about the story, but we did get to see some interesting scenes that we're going to be seeing inside of Rogue One. So let's talk a little bit about what we did get to see in it. Some of the things that we got to see in at least the reel portion, because there was 2 different things that got released. We got the Celebration reel, and then we got a leaked trailer that only the attendees at the Star Wars Celebration got to see, which we'll talk about in a second. But the actual reel, it showed us a little bit more of a lot of the war scenes.
The scenes on the island are pretty much the first time you've ever seen stormtroopers fight like that in water.
In water,
it was just
sand,
amazing. It was just an amazing scene.
Yeah, so like we saw before with in the original trilogy, where we got to see different types of stormtroopers with the Force troopers and kind of like
snow troopers also,
on Hoth and Empire Strikes Back. We get to see more of that in Rogue One and more elements than we've seen before, especially the water one, which was kind of weird. I was like, man, aren't they gonna get sink in the water? But the other thing, we got to see more of some of the characters in the film as well, because we got to see different types. We got to see the Death Troopers, more of the Stormtroopers, but we also got to see some of the aliens that we're gonna become more accustomed to in this whole not scenario, but
this whole part of the spin-off, this whole part of the timeline, I guess. Now, some of the aliens that are actually going to be coming out are going to be familiar from the Cantina scene in the
right. So that's great, because now they were just kind of like cameos that originally took place in the original trilogy. Now we're going to see them a little bit more fleshed out. We're going to hopefully get to hear them talk more, get to see them interact with more of the characters. So that's going to be a good thing. But one of the great things that I got to take away from the real trailer, I don't say real trailer, like not real trailer, but the film reel from Celebration, is that we got to see more of the war scenes. Mm-hmm. And that was a big thing, because we always make a joke that, Star Wars doesn't actually include any war, but this one showed us
just
more.
Jedi.
just Jedi and some skirmishes that go on every now and then around the Jedi. But this one showed us more scenes with Jen Erso's character, where she's kind of running along during an immense battle that's going on with the walkers and stormtroopers and tanks, kind of like little floor tanks that they're rolling around in. So I thought that was an awesome thing. And then also too, when they mentioned before about the Bothans retrieving not the Bothans, when they mentioned getting the diagram for the Death Star on the tapes, we actually got to see Jen Erso running through the battlefield. She seems like she was holding a tape. That was an awesome thing to see in there, and I was like, oh wow, they're going to try to stay true to what was already established in canon and basically integrate that into this film. So that was some of the things that I actually liked about those little clips that they did show us. What were some other things that you liked?
You got one. First of all, you have to admire their attempts at the continuity as far as getting those details out. Mm-hmm. You have to admire them for that. Another thing that's really setting this whole thing apart is the amount of effort that they're putting to really differentiate this from the actual saga.
Right.
I mean, they are really trying to make this its own universe in a way.
Right.
Because first of all, it's not going to have a crawl. It's not going to have a space crawl. That's not going to happen.
Not determined yet.
It's been determined they're not going to do it.
When did they announce that?
They announced it. I think they might have announced it during the celebration.
Which?
I believe Kennedy did that. Kathleen Kennedy, I believe, said something along those lines.
Okay.
But anyway, so there's that. Second, the war scenes, the battle scenes that we're talking about. You're absolutely right. Completely different from anything you've ever seen in the rest of the saga.
A welcome change.
Different. A welcome change. Yeah. It's almost modern. Mm-hmm. It's almost, I'm surprised you haven't seen any real shotguns and guns, that kind of thing. But some of those are pretty intense. Stormtroopers still can't hit anything. So I don't know.
Well, they got to keep the canon.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so but yeah, the some of those battle scenes, the water scenes are the things that are sticking out the most for me. The martial. This is the first time, if I remember right, that you've ever really seen martial arts in a Star Wars movie. Like actual martial arts.
I mean, we can talk about episode 1 where we were doing the whole flipping and stuff with. No,
but I'm talking about martial arts with friggin'. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean, but he's got he's got the double saber and all that. But I'm talking about like with hand to hand and I guess Donnie Yen too. But okay, well the same but completely different. Either way, it's still freaking amazing to see Donnie Yen in there doing his thing, and he looks blind.
Well, we'll actually talk about the characters a little bit when we actually get to some of the information that we found out on the panel. Okay. But like I mentioned previously, that there was actually a second thing that got released for only the attendees there at the celebration, was an actual trailer, more of a teaser, I guess. It was about 1 minute long, where we got to see a little bit, kind of a different cut of what we saw in the reel for Jen Erso's character and some voiceover from her. But we also got what we've all been expecting.
Vader.
Tease of Vader, and we didn't get to see him fully on screen. We got more of a shadow. We got to hear some of his
I think it was
breathing.
A reflection.
Yeah, a reflection shadow thing, but we knew it was Vader. We got to hear his breathing, and it's one of those things where thank God we finally got there. So from that little bit, I mean, you've seen that part, right?
Yes, I saw.
Okay, so from that little bit that we got
a great ovation, by the way.
I mean, we've all been waiting for it. We've been waiting for that more than anything that they've ever announced in this film. But what did you feel about what we did get of Vader? What was kind of like your overall feelings of it?
I think that it's just how subtle they're being with him, and they're not really because everybody knows who it is, but how they're still playing it as a mysterious role. They're not over showing. They're not overdoing it too much with showing him too much. So that's kind of good because it actually shows them it still keeps some kind of mystery to it.
Right.
Especially when nobody really knows the part that he's in, the part in his life that he is in right now, what's going on with him, nobody knows the role he's playing right now. But they're doing a great job at keeping him kind of quiet a little bit, and I cannot wait till they actually show that, in the States, like for the world to see, and not just in that one whole event that they had.
Well, hopefully we might get something at Comic-Con this weekend. Maybe they'll possibly release it for Comic-Con. Maybe. I mean, not truly what they normally would do at a Comic-Con, especially following an actual Star Wars event, that they would actually hold something back, because that would be kind of crappy for the people who made the trip to Europe to actually go see Star Wars Celebration and say, now we're going to release this over here. But it would be great to actually get it out, an actual clear version where we can see it in better detail. But my feeling with it is that I'm glad that they're keeping it kind of low-key with his character, because I don't think his role is that big. I think the majority of the role is based around Krennic, or the majority of the villain is based around Krennic, and I don't think they want to distract from him being the true villain in the film.
Right, and hey, even Palpatine could be.
I mean, Palpatine.
You don't know.
I mean, because they've mentioned that it's in that time frame.
What is that tank called again?
The tank.
Bank the tank. Tank. What is that called? Frank the Tank? No.
Yeah, it's called Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. No, it's Bank the Tank.
The Bach the Tank.
Bach the Tank.
Yeah.
Bach the Tank. I told you to go to school. Anyway, go ahead.
All right.
No, because I brought that up because it's like curious of who's in there, and two, who's the hooded figure? Is that Vader? Is Vader in the Bach the Tank, or is it someone else like Palpatine or something?
Well, I don't think it would be Palpatine for this particular time, if maybe we were talking about...
No, I mean Palpatine being the hooded figure, seeing Vader inside the Bacta.
Well, I don't think he would kneel.
What if it's Snoke?
That, I mean, we did talk about Snoke and his extended lifespan.
He has seen the rise and the fall of the Empire.
It would be a great way to tie it in, but I don't think they're ready to do something like that yet.
You never know.
All right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So, other things from Celebration, since we already talked about some of the, I guess the most important things were the videos, the reel, and the actual leak trailer. Other things that we actually got to learn, and it's actually involving some of the panel we got to see from the cast of Rogue One. Couple things that we learned, I guess I'll kind of go down the list of those things, is at Jian Wen.
Long Wang.
Way, man, I totally screwed up his name. Jian Wen.
That's far different than John Wayne.
I'm going to put it down here in words because obviously I can't pronounce it.
Oh my God.
But
Long Wang.
While he was being questioned, he actually had a slip up and mentioned...
I know, that's crazy.
...that Donnie Yen's character is actually going to die. So,
no more Ip Man.
What I was going to ask is, because obviously I know you were aware of that too, but if you hadn't seen it, I mean, because you can still go out there and you can view the actual panel where he talks about...
Makes everybody uncomfortable, by the way.
Because everybody's like, oh my God, we're all going to get fired or get sued by Disney or by Lucasfilm. But he kind of lets it go, and they try to gloss over it and keep moving forward. But with that being said, since we were talking about before with... Donnie Yen actually involving martial arts, and I made a call back to Darth Maul. Will Donnie Yen be our next Darth Maul about being in one film, being a super awesome character, and biting it, and then never ever seeing him again?
I agree absolutely 100% with you. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think that he's going to have a pretty good sets of action sequences, and then after that, he's going to just bite it right then and there, and just maybe he couldn't have to.
So he'll be our Darth Maul 2.0.
Ip Man.
Or I guess maybe it would be 2.0 because this is what happened. Okay, yeah. So Darth Maul 2.0. Other things that we learned from this whole Rogue One panel is director Garth Edwards, while they were interviewing him.
Gareth.
Oh my God. Garth Edwards.
Tomorrow never comes.
Gareth Edwards actually made mention that he actually had George Lucas on set.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, which is awesome because he actually made a couple of jokes where he said George Lucas was walking around saying, "Oh, I hate that. Oh, that sucks. Oh, I hate that." And he was feeling like, "Oh my God, I need to fix this. I need to change." You know, George Lucas doesn't like this, and he was like, "No, I'm just joking." You know, that's pretty cool, kind of going on. Do you think he gave insight, and maybe they may use some of his thoughts because what they've done before when we got to The Force Awakens, they were like, "Yeah, thank you, George, for coming here. Here's all your ideas in a trash can on your way out." Do you think Gareth Edwards...
And then he left counting his $4 billion.
Yeah. Do you think Gareth Edwards would actually listen to some of the feedback that we got from George Lucas and maybe incorporate it in Rogue One?
Yes, and here's why. When you're looking at the fourth.
Now you can't make fun of the Garth Edwards thing.
When you're looking at The Force Awakens, you're looking at it with an established trilogy that's already there, and you're looking at to take it into a different direction, introducing brand new characters that are going to be mixed and integrated with the older characters and all that. So I can understand why they really, it's like your world's already been established. Now let me take the ball and let me go, right? That's Force Awakens in episode 8 and 9.
Right.
Okay, now you're taking Rogue One, which is a spin-off, and you're taking it, let's just, by year, we're taking it back to 1977.
Right.
So his early vision of the entire beginning of Star Wars is actually more relevant in this particular show because it is around the same time as the 1977 version at that time, right?
Yeah.
So him being a consultant on this somewhat benefits them a lot, actually, because he could actually, he can go back to rough drafts or early story concepts when it comes to when he was first making Star Wars as it was, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that can play a big part in that. I think it would benefit Gareth Edwards a lot.
Especially since they've been using a lot of the early designs that they had for stormtroopers and characters. So
who's to say that it wasn't George Lucas's idea to have that disc thing or whatever that she's holding?
The little thing.
Yeah. Who's because who knows that detail better than him?
Exactly.
From then. So that's why I think he could be part of those details. Who knows? But I think that his input is really valuable there. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, it's kind of my feeling too that he can help flesh out the world for them, you know, give them a little bit as far as what he was thinking when he mentioned this, when they're expanding it out. So maybe he probably didn't get to include on the script or anything like that, but maybe like, hey, this is what we're doing as an overall picture.
I just think minor details here.
Yeah, what do you think about this? Should we change something like this? How did you see the world? No, I get it. All right, so moving off of Rogue One.
It's something in my drink. Like, what is this?
moving off of Rogue One.
Must be a buck to think.
Another thing that we learned during Star Wars Celebration was in regards to Episode 8, and I kind of alluded to it at the very beginning when I kind of jumped out of order, is that there will be no time jump from Episode 7 to Episode 8, which is a first for Star Wars because there's always been a time jump. It actually defines when we do the little scroll. That's what that's for, to help catch us up between the difference.
Damn, so how long is the scroll?
Yeah, it's basically even like
one sentence. Hey, Luke, Rey finds Luke, hands in the lightsaber. That's it, and then and it's over.
I was just thinking that I think they would do a recap like they do in TV shows, and last time on Star Wars, and then they kind of flash back, kind of get you little clips type deal, and then you move forward. But I think it's different from what they've done, and is it a welcome change, or how do you think the movie will flow without having a time gap?
I think it'll from starting the movie where the last one takes off, actually, you know, it speeds things up also very fast when it comes to, I mean, not really speeds it up, but it actually does the opposite. I think it slows it down a little bit to where you can actually see now what happens. You don't have to have the crawl because you can now see. The crawl might be Kylo Ren's standpoint because you don't know what's going on with him. Mm-hmm. So that can be, you know, that can be what's going on there. What is that place called? The islands that he's at? No, that's the real. That's the
Michael
real
Islands or something like that.
That's the real name of it. But I'm talking about in the story. What's it called?
Oh man,
wasn't it like Achu or something like that? Like bless you, something like that.
We'll put it down below because I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
No, because it could be, you know, they can go all of that and, you know, give you Kylo Ren's part of what's going on with him, what's going on with Finn, and all that, and talk about them, and then at the end, it talks about Rey, and then boom, that's when it starts.
Okay, as far as the scroll, right. You know, how Kylo got off the planet and didn't die, and how Captain Phasma didn't die in the garbage thing,
and how General Hux actually knew exactly where Kylo was to pick him up. Possibly. And that big ass freaking planet space station.
Yeah. One of the things that I had questioned about it, well, one of the reasons why I was actually kind of cool with the fact that they weren't going to do a time jump, because if they time jump, then we're going to miss the whole conversation with her and Luke.
Which is why I say that that it just talks about what's going on with the other characters.
Right.
And then right when the crawl ends, it's about Rey, and then boom, they start from that. Because it's supposed to start from the same look.
Right.
From the look with the lightsaber. It's supposed to start from right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the scroll will probably just be a recap and just a little bit of what we didn't get to see when she got to the island that kind of happened at the same time. But it won't.
You mean like in the middle of the walk?
In the middle, as she's walking up the she's walking up the stairs, Kylo Ren is being shipped off to a Bacta tank.
Frank the Tank.
But that was something that we learned through Star Wars Celebration. That was those are the biggest things that I thought that we actually got to, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, we got one more thing. I almost forgot about it. Another thing that we did get to learn through Star Wars Celebration is if you're a fan of Legends and a lot of the books that are out there that are no longer canon, we now know that Star Wars is actually trying to pick and choose characters out of Legends to add into the current canon. We originally got, or the first thing that we got was Saw Gerrera. From Clone Wars being now added into our current universe in Rogue One.
And that's Forrest Whitaker, right?
Yeah, and that's Forrest Whitaker's character. And now we're actually going to get Admiral Thrawn, who is a super popular character from the books, which is actually what people thought when we saw Krennic was. Yeah. We thought he was going to be Admiral Thrawn. The outfit. But to stay a little bit more true to the character, we're actually gonna get a blue character as Admiral Thrawn in the Rebels TV show. So if you're a fan of Rebels, then this will be a way, or if you're a fan of Rebels and you're a fan of Admiral Thrawn, or if you're just a fan of Admiral Thrawn, this is a way for you to see him on the Rebels cartoon show. Now, will he make a transition from the cartoon show into live action at any point, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe not. Maybe not in 8, possibly at the end of 9 to start the new trilogy, possibly. Is he from Na'vi?
Well,
is he part of Avatar?
Well, see, they have never really established his lifespan. So, I mean, his time frame is really during the original trilogy. So to say that he makes it around 8 and 9 basically has to say that he has a long lifespan like Snoke, which they haven't quite referenced yet.
Unless that's one part that they changed, that it's not that he's got a long lifespan. That's just right in his prime. Okay. You know what I mean? I mean, they can start it like where he's later comes. It's funny that you mentioned that, though, because when Force Awakens first came out, we were talking about, like early good shows, we were talking about how they were going to just take away completely from the expanded universe. They were going to just do away with all of the legends and all that stuff. And there were some pieces that they kept. And now, what else do you think that they're gonna keep? Because you cannot just throw away all of those stories and all of the. You just can't do it. So, does it surprise you that they went back to the well just in case?
No, I was actually happy because a lot of people who invested time and money and time reading all of these books that they loved, you know, it was heartbreaking for them now Disney, now owning Lucas, to say, no, we're scrapping all that stuff. You know, like, man, I have all these books at home that, you know, I built my love around this particular universe that was established. For you to throw it away, it's kind of hurtful. So the fact that they're able to start bringing some of these characters back into canon is a welcome. I mean, it says that, hey, we haven't forgot about you. We know these are awesome characters. We just want to work them in our way and not work them in the way they had been worked. Because a lot of the stuff, there was different levels of canon with them. Some of it was not canon. Some was more like close to canon. And some of it was just kind of, you know, fan fiction. So this is a way for them to bring some of those awesome characters and make them make sense.
And you mentioned Thrawn right now. We have not seen the Inquisitors.
No, we have. We've seen the Inquisitors in the TV show, but we haven't seen them in live action.
We have not seen the Inquisitors, and we have not seen Ezra.
No. Is somebody's thinking that he might actually show up. So there's a lot of characters there that are canon that have not even come out yet. So whether or not people
they're
would love to see Ahsoka Gatan, man.
So if they're not, so if they don't make it through 8 or maybe even 9, you can probably count that they'll be part of the next trilogy.
Or maybe the spinoffs.
Maybe even the spinoffs. Absolutely.
Maybe the spinoffs, because the Rebels and Clone Wars all took place during the trilogy or a little bit before. So maybe the spinoff films, maybe we'll get to see more of those characters get involved in canon. So, okay, so now that was technically the last piece of information that I had from Star Wars Celebration. The next piece of news that we did get over that particular weekend is that J.J. Abrams was talked to, and he said that he wanted to, how did he put it? A Knights of Ren solo film?
J.J. Abrams came out and said that it would be cool to have a Knights of Ren spin-off movie, much like Rogue One, the Han Solo, the Boba Fett, but have one for
I like how you just
Ren.
said exactly what I said.
But completely different. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it would be, because we've never really seen something on the side of the Sith. I mean, really, Suicide Squad, welcome to the Star Wars show. Suicide Squad is the first time that you've ever really seen the eyes of the villain this time, or where the story revolves around the villains. Now we can do that with the Knights of Ren, where the story revolves around the villains. But that would be awesome. I think that's a great idea.
I think but I think there's a case of the Boba Fett effect. Is that it's a nice outfit and it looks kind of cool and we kind of want to know where it came from, but they haven't established enough story around enough around the character, make them interesting enough to give them an expanded narrative.
But we don't know anything really about the Knights of Ren. We knew a little something from Boba Fett because of Attack of the Clones and then Jedi and Empire a little bit, but this is the first time that we saw Knights of Ren at all in Force Awakens. So you can basically create whatever kind of story arc that you want to do with those characters and show their backstory on that. I think that it would actually hold ground depending on who you have to star in it, though.
But also too, we would kind of have to let the rest of the episodes play out before we could even get to that spin-off film, because we don't even know how they're going to address them.
Well, that's probably what Abrams is talking about, like a little further down the road. I mean, they still have to do the Han Solo one still, so.
Well,
and they need to see how well Rogue One is accepted from the fans.
Very true. So we'll see how that plays out. All right. Well, that's where we're going to wrap up as far as Star Wars news. We normally get to this point when we talk about fan theories, but you actually had a great fan theory.
No, I didn't have nothing. It's something that I saw, and
I didn't say you wrote the fan theory. I'm just saying that you had one that you came across.
I take all the credit. No,
you came across it.
I came across it, and I apologize, sir. Whoever said this was
because we can't reference you. We would love to reference you.
Yeah, we love to reference you. I just cannot remember your name. I'm so sorry, but it was regarding the whole thing with Episode 8, as far as a leaked script, whether it's real or not, I don't know. Where there's a conversation going on, and Rey asks Luke if he's her father. He says no, and he replies with, "Right." That's what he says. I ain't looping none of it. We're gonna do this now. We're gonna get it right. No, he says no. You are my father.
Which brings us back to
Rey being a reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker.
All right, so let me put my...
And only the chosen one can be reincarnated.
Huh. Okay.
So that was interesting. I didn't... It's not mine. I just think it's interesting. That was an interesting thing.
It's an interesting theory. It convolutes things so much.
I don't like it. I don't like that.
No, I really hope
I don't like the
reincarnation thing at all.
I hope that's not true.
You either do family lineage, or you do somebody completely different, which I really hate somebody completely different, because then it discounts the Skywalkers in this whole series if there can be another person who's not of the Skywalker lineage who now is more powerful than the Skywalkers, because then it does away with the chosen one.
And then there's one that comes out that she is actually the granddaughter of Palpatine.
Okay. Still.
I would accept that more than her being a reincarnated.
I think the reincarnation's a cop out. So
absolutely, I agree.
I think it's a cop out. So
I hope that's not true either.
I hope it's not true. If they go that route, I'm gonna be kind of bugged about it. So they better have a good way to do it. But then this is all fan theories. With nothing's actually been set in stone. They could always change this on the fly. George Lucas wrote the whole Luke. No, I am your father. I'm gonna say the line wrong.
Did you say Aunt Luke?
No, he wrote the Luke. I was getting ready to say, "I am your father," and then I stopped because that's not the line. But he wrote the Vader Luke, not spoiler, but twist after he had already put out A New Hope. So it's something they're probably still working on as far as how they want to carry it and how they want to actually.
Well, wouldn't that be the same?
No, but I'm saying it's like
after Force Awakens, he puts a twist in the second movie.
Yeah, no, but we're talking. What I was saying is that they could still address it later. They don't have to. Maybe they're still working on as far as how they want to set up her lineage as far as who she's coming from, because that's the most important part of Star Wars right now is who Rey belongs to. So
okay, what about the other one? There was another theory where Supreme Leader Snoke is actually Palpatine, and we talked about that briefly once.
We spoke on that.
And but where he's Palpatine, and he survived the whole blast and all that. How do you figure that would play out if that turns out to be true? I wouldn't like that either. Because I think we need to let all the old characters just be dead.
Death Star blew up.
Yeah, let the old characters just be
Luke
done.
Barely got out of there with Vader. I wouldn't
mind seeing Hayden Christensen back though.
And then he fell down the shaft, and I don't know. I would like to see Hayden Christensen back. I would rather deal with cloned Vader than I would actually do her being a... God, that's kind of me saying the same thing. Her being a clone with more... I don't like her being a clone, but I would rather like a clone of... I would actually like Vader cloned, brought back to life.
You remember in Empire when Luke falls... After he finds out,
and he gets out, and
he finds out, and
so that's how Palpatine got out.
Possibly. Well, it's believable. It's possible. He's stronger with the Force than Luke was.
Fire didn't come up thing when Luke fell through.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Which would show why he's so badly disfigured.
Possibly. So. My only thing about that is that we actually have an actor who played Palpatine, so why would they bring him back to do the motion capture?
Because Andy Serkis is Caesar. He can do anything.
All right, next. All right, so that's the end of fan theories, and actually that's going to wrap up our show today. So I'm the only person that says goodbye at these particular points, so we're going to move that on to Manny since he can actually feel my pain.
with the intro?
With the intro.
Oh boy. Hey guys, so there was a lot of the fan theories that we threw out there. If you've heard some of these, let us know what you guys think about it. Is there fan theories that you know about that's even more, a little better than those?
Exactly.
That's something that throws us completely off, because those fan theories completely threw me off. And check out the Stupendous Wave. That guy is awesome.
Okay.
You got to really check that guy out. He's really good too. But anyway, hit us up. Hit us up on our Twitter. Hit us up on our Facebook. We are at on the Facebook. Where are we at?
The Goods Podcast.
The Goods Podcast. That's really hard.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Like this video, subscribe, and hit us up whenever. That was fast and easy. I don't know how the intro was so hard for you.
All right, so for Aspen in the back, I'm Terrence.
I'm Manny.
May the force be with you.
The Star Wars news saga news. Ching Chow.
I figured we get it out the way now.
I feel like we just need a new intro.
You always do it.
I do?
Yes.
Oh.
That's what she said. You always do this.
This is your show.
Yes, you say that every time, and then you always do the opening.
You want me to do the opening?
You always do.
Okay.
All right.
Because we always let Terrence try. He never gets it.
I never get it right.
Let's do it. Let's try it this time. You go. Ready?
Really?
We're gonna do the same thing.
Just do it.
Okay.
Count down. He's gonna do it. He got to learn.
Stop laughing.
4,
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, welcome to the show. Good night. Don't know what I can say.
Welcome to the show.